see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Okay. Now?
Yes, now I can hear and see you clear.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So let's begin our session for today. Sit comfortably, keep your back and neck straight. And when you feel ready, very gently close the eyes. To start observing your breath. Watch the natural flow of your breathing as you inhale and as you exhale. Now shift your attention to your body. Become aware of your posture. Be in your posture. If you feel like aligning yourself or adjusting yourself, just take a few moments to do so. Now gently come back to your breathing and start deepening your breath. Slow, long and deep inhalations. Slow, long and deep exhalations. We are going to open today's session with 3 chantings followed by the Guru mantra. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Feel the vibrations. Join the palms together, rub the palms together. Keep the palms on the ground. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at the palm, open up your eyes. Come back with a big smile on the face. Om Shanti and Namaste. Let us begin our session for today. Yeah. Okay, so first half an hour we are going to conduct the philosophy class, and then second half an hour we are going to go for today's pranayama practice.
This is perfect for me. So I can combine it.
Yeah. So I know for a lot of people, like morning was getting very difficult. So this we combined both. So yeah. So yesterday in philosophy I started the topic of lifestyle, right? And I was talking about this only that people gain so many degrees in their life, but unfortunately they are unable to implement the information that they have acquired. And yoga is all about like going the opposite way, right? So yoga is all about practicing and keeping the information equal, but it's not like you should have so much information and you are unable to practice anything, right? So our main focus is practice. So when we talk of the lifestyle practices, we were talking about food in the previous class. So I had discussed a little bit about yoga's point of view on what the quantity of the food should be, what the quality of the food should be. And today we are going to learn more elaborately about this, right? So yesterday I told you how you should eat, how you should sit, right? So you should ideally sit in a cross-legged position on the ground when you are consuming the food, and you should eat the food with your hands. So you can throw out all the furniture, you can throw out all the cutlery that you invested so much on, or if you were planning to invest, I will save you the money. You don't require all of these things. The best way to eat the food is to sit on the ground, right? And the best way to consume the food is through your hands. Okay, so you can save this expense, right? And an even better way to sit and consume the food is actually sitting not just in a cross-legged position, but also just keeping the left leg like this. Okay, so when you are sitting on the ground, lift your left leg up like this. Okay, so what will this do? Again, when you bend forward, when you keep the food on the ground, right? So don't get a table to keep the plate, right? Keep the food on the ground so that when you have to eat it, you have to bend forward. So when we bend forward, automatically our stomach, it gets some pressure. Uh, we will all like because of this position, we will never eat till here. Okay. Then next thing, if you want to increase the impact, you can have this position. Okay, and then bend forward any. So if you adopt this position also, you will see this thing. There is a constant, like greater pressure on your stomach. So when this greater pressure comes in on the stomach, again, it is a really nice way, right, to uh, like make sure that you are not eating till here, right? Just give me a moment. All right. So coming back to our topic of discussion, I also talked about mantras and how they have an impact on whatever you are eating. So now let me come to some more yogic concepts, right? So yoga divides the food in three categories. So in Ayurveda, you would have studied about the three gunas, and in philosophy also, we might, if we get a chance, we will cover them a little bit. So the food also has three categories. One is sattvic food, right? Sattvic, right? Sattvic food. Then we have uh, your Rajasic food, Rajasic, Rajasic food. And then we have Tamasic food, Tamasic, Tamasic, right? So yoga emphasizes on the consumption of the first category, which is the sattvic food. Sattvic food is very easy to digest. It is never heavy on your system, and it has great pranic value, right? Means that when you consume it, the energy you gain from it, it's going to be very high. So in pranayam class also, I said that sattvic food is generally vegetarian in nature, vegetables, fruits, even milk products, right? These come under the category of sattvic food. So if you guys are already thinking of making a shift in your diet, coming back to sattvic food will be very good for you. Now, the second category of foods is what at least we in India consume a lot, right? Which is like spicy food. Okay. So when we add a lot of heavy spices to the food, it turns into Ratsik food, right? So that doesn't mean one item will always be sattvic. It depends on how you are cooking it also, right? So suppose I am cooking a sattvic kind of diet, but I add excessive spices to it. So the quality of the food changes and it turns into Ratsik. Okay. So you have to be careful how you are cooking also, right? So Ratsik food has generally very heavy spices and it is also heavy in nature, right? So this is the kind of food that generally sports people, they consume. You will see that sports people have a special diet which supports the level of exertion that they are taking during their sport, right? So Ratsik food is generally consumed by those people, but yoga is not a sport, right? Yoga is a spiritual journey, so you have to shift towards sattvic only. Yeah. Third kind of food is called tamasic food. Tamasic food is like should be avoided, right? So this is the lowest form of the food. The food barely has any pranic value to offer. So your packed foods, food items, right? Preservatives, food items which have preservatives, um, junk food, fast food, your coffee, alcohol, tea, all of these things come under the category of tamasic food, right? So try to eliminate these as much as possible out of your routine because these foods they will when you consume them you will feel a sense of heaviness, you will feel a uh, you will feel very sleepy when you consume them. After that you would immediately want to go sleep for a while, or you will feel very very low on energy because in these foods you are gaining no energy out of them. You are just the already the energy that your system has when the stomach is digesting that food, the energy is actually going away, so you are going in negative instead of gaining energy out of food. And yesterday only I said this thing that for food, it's very, very important to understand this thing. We eat food to energize ourselves, not to feel lethargic or lazy, right? So the kind of food that you eat will have great impact on the activeness of the mind, on the activeness of the body, right? Again, if you eat the food within 1 to 3 hours, right, of it being cooked, it will be sattvic. But if sattvic food you are consuming sattvic food at the end of the day, cooking it in the morning, consuming it at the end of the day, then again it will change its quality, right? So you have to be very careful. The food should be freshly cooked, right? And I would highly recommend if you can cook your own food, okay, or maybe just somebody who is like your parents or your sibling or your partner. You should always have only trusted people cook your food. Why? Because I don't know about you, but when my mom used to be angry, right? So when she used to cook the food used to taste as if she was angry, right? So the taste of the food changes depending on the person who is cooking it, right? So if I'm sad, I'm cooking food for you will feel that sadness in your food, right? That is why mantras like chanting mantra before eating the food, if you have no control over who is cooking the food or what is the state of the mind of the person who is cooking the food, you can at least do some chanting so that you add some positive energy to the food, right? But I would highly recommend try to cook your own food. And when you do, always be in a relaxed state of mind, right? It doesn't mean that you are stressed, you are agitated, irritated, and you're cooking the food, right? So, no, your state of mind should be relaxed because the food will capture that energy, right? So, which takes me to the most important ingredient of food, which cannot be added just like that. It is love. Okay, always cook with a lot of love, right? So again, I don't know about you guys, but when somebody who really like a very close friendship, or even my parents when they cook for me, the taste of that food changes again. right? So when my mom used to cook, right, I still remember the taste of that food. It was so, it had so much love in it, right? So the taste of the food, no matter what, even if the salt is less or more, or the spices are heavy or not heavy, right? It was just out of how much love she was cooking for us, right? That the taste of the food, it enhanced, right? So when I eat outside, right? When I now eat outside, I see the difference, right? When somebody takes the time to cook, right? Cooks with a lot of love and appreciation, the taste of the food changes, right? So cook with a lot of love for yourself, cook with a lot of love for the people you are cooking for, right? So these are little things that you can incorporate in your life, which will heavily change how the food is even being digested and assimilated in your body, right? It has great impact. You will be surprised to see what kind of impact just sitting cross-legged can have on your digestive system, right? Just a very simple practice, which you could have taken 10 medicines, but just sitting on the ground in a cross-legged position and keeping the plate on the ground and bending a little bit forward to eat that food, this will totally change how your body is digesting the food, right? So again, your intention, your emotions, they really are absorbed by the food. So be careful, be in a calm state of mind when you are cooking, and always cook with a lot of love in your heart, right? Next, very important thing when we talk of food is actually the timing. So a lot of students, they ask what is the concept of yoga on timing of the food. So yoga just says this thing that try to fix the timing, because your body, it produces acid, right, to digest the food. So a lot of people, they have the issue of acidity. Why? Because they're never able to fix the timing of their meal. So your body, it loves routine, it loves when you are disciplined, right? So if you have a timing for a particular like meal, then stick to that timing, right? But despite saying this thing, I would also add this, that suppose one day you have very heavy breakfast. Okay. So suppose you have heavy breakfast at 9 p.m. and 1 p.m. you have your lunch, right? But the breakfast was very heavy. So by 1 p.m. your system is still like feeling very heavy. Okay. So in that case, I would highly suggest that listen to your body. Okay, so sometimes some situations will arise where you will feel like you don't want to eat, right? But the timing is that when you have to consume the food. So then listen to your body, or you can take something very light like eating fruits at that point of time, so that at least the body is still used to the consumption pattern also, and at the same time you are also not feeling too heavy, right? So you will have to make little adjustments depending on how you are like approaching the situation, right? Another very important thing, always try to consume the local food. Wherever you live, you should have the food which is grown over there. So because the world is like at your feet now, you can order anything from anywhere around the world. What is happening is a lot of trade related practices are taking place when it comes to food, right? So food which is grown in our environment, it's going outside, which is grown in outside environment, it's coming here, right? So what is happening, we are not consuming the food which is grown locally in our area, right? So try to consume more of that food wherever you live, because that is the best food for your climate. Okay. Then next thing is the seasonal change also, right? So suppose in summers you are getting a fruit, and then because of so many chemicals being added to food items these days, that same fruit will be available to you at the peak of winters as well, right? So try to go for seasonal fruits, seasonal vegetables. Why? Because the fruits, you will see generally the fruits that are there in summers, right? They have a lot of high water content. right? So at that point of time, the body is, um, losing out through sweat a lot of water, right? So such fruits which nourish the body in that way, they are generally available, right? And then when you come to winters, fruits which support that season, they come in, right? So depending on what season is there and what climate you are in, you should change your diet as per those things. Keeping those things in mind is very, very necessary, right? Your everyday patterns, your everyday like energy levels will also be greatly influenced by what you consume. So it's important to be very prudent about it, right? It's important to be very careful about it, because that can either make the quality of your day, or it can totally lead you to a place where you are like sleepy throughout the day, right? Consuming the food during your breakfast time and lunch time, you can still consume heavy meals, but as you move towards the night, try to go for a very light dinner. Or if you are feeling too hungry, then you can maybe go for something like khichdi. So khichdi is a combination of pulses and uh, rice, and you can consume that also, but towards the evening, or you can go for soup, right? But towards the evening, as you reach the evening time, you should try to reduce your diet. But whatever you eat in the morning and afternoon, that will get digested properly. So during that time, try to keep the whatever like throughout your day, if you have a target, I have to consume this. So out of those, all the heavy items, you should either consume them in the morning or in the afternoon, right? So that they get time to get processed, get digested. And by the time you're going to go to sleep, your stomach will get empty. So when you fall asleep with that kind of stomach, empty stomach, so entire night, whatever rest you take, it repairs the body much better. Okay. So these are few tips, tricks that you can incorporate in your life when we come to um, the practices of food. Another thing, like I said, don't make the food in an unstable state of mind. Don't consume the food in an unstable state of mind as well, right? So suppose one day you are very angry or agitated or irritated. So that day there is no point, right? Or that timing, there is no point eating the food, because the state of the mind also greatly influences how the food is going to get digested, right? So if you are agitated, angry, right? So with me, so many times it has happened. Whenever I'm angry, I just don't eat, right? By default, also you don't feel like eating, because the mind goes in a disturbed state. So it's very important when you sit to eat your food, you relax yourself, just focus on your breath for 1 2 minutes, and then sit and eat your food, right? So these are very simple tricks, tactics that you can incorporate. Don't talk when you eat, just eat. Otherwise, you will, end up like choking. So many cases of choking come up every day. It's because people talk while they are eating, and talking is highly like not recommended when you are consuming the food, because at that point of time you need the food pipe, right, to take the food down, right? So so many cases of choking, they are coming up because we like to talk when we eat. And I understand talking when you're eating it, you know it feels good, but you should try and avoid this thing as well, so that you can consume your food with a lot of peace in your mind, with a lot of stability in your mind, and consume it more properly, so that it can digest and give your body the correct amount of energy. So, any doubts related to this, the concept of food?
No doubts, but I have a question. I've read some weeks ago, I think, something about J, and is it, I think, a good concept for cleaning? I've read that Indian people take it before food or something like this. I've bought some J, but I don't know how to use, maybe for as oil or something like this, which it's a concept behind J.
What is it? I'm so sorry. I'm not able to
J,
catch.
I've read it.
Ghee.
Ghee, yeah, ghee, yes.
Ghee. Okay,
Hmm?
ghee. Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
Hmm?
So ghee is a very it's made out of again milk only, and
Mm-hmm.
you can add it over your food. Okay, so suppose you
Okay.
do something, you just add it over your food. It will, especially if you have Vata personality, this will
Mm-hmm.
be the savior for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So you are talking about consumption in the sense of
Mhm.
like
Yes.
eating, right?
Yeah. Okay. Over the food or for oil for warming or something like this, or is it only yes in a natural way, not in a hot way? I don't know how
Hmm.
it's better cold or hot or
Hmm. Okay, it is
okay.
better
Mm-hmm.
to pour it over your food, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you're cooking, rather
Mm-hmm.
than pour that and then add the spices and everything for them to cook. It's better to
Mm-hmm.
pour it over the food.
Mm-hmm.
For cooking, you can use olive oil or mustard oil. These are two oils that you can cook the food with instead of refined oil. You can
Mm-hmm.
go for these two types of oil, and ghee can be added over your food. It will enhance the taste and it will also provide your body proper nourishment.
Okay.
All right, great. So let me know if you like the taste or not when you start.
Um, I've tried it and I don't really like it. Maybe I have to find a recipe which combines better for me because there's it's very intense. I have to try it with other combinations, maybe with some other spices or something like this. Therefore, it's not awful, but special. It's a special taste. I don't know the taste. Maybe this is the problem, and therefore I will
Take
try it.
time. Yeah.
Yes.
It will take some time getting used to. Don't consume it raw right now. Take it
Yeah.
over the food. That will just mix it with the food so that
Yeah.
however your food is cooked, so it will
Mm.
dissolve in that only.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
this was the problem because I have tried it raw, and therefore it was too intense.
Raw is also recommended, but I did not say that for you because first you need to develop the taste.
Mm. Yes.
Right? So first develop the taste, then eventually if you feel the need, we will talk about consuming it raw also and what benefits it has. But right now, just pour it over.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's start the pranayama session now. Right. So we are going to, yesterday we covered yogic deep breathing, right, which was essentially combining the three sectional breaths that we had done. We do them together, and that process is called yogic deep breathing. So now today we are starting with a new concept, and this is a very important concept. Okay, we are going to take a few sessions to cover this. And today's practice is called Nadi Shodhana. NadiShodhana. Nadi Shodhana. So we are actually, I'm just going to give you a basic understanding of Nadi Shodhana today, but today's practice is actually a preparation practice for Nadi Shodhana. Okay, so we even have to prepare for a practice like Nadi Shodhana. So first thing I want to clarify, Nadi Shodhana is a pre-practice of pranayama. It is not a pranayama. Okay? In modern times, a lot of gurus, they added the term pranayam in front of it, and it is all right because this is just a term, right, that we are adding, so you don't have to consciously get stuck on this thing. But in Hatha Yogic text you will see this is a pre-practice or a preparatory practice for pranayam. Okay, entering into pranayam. Okay. So Nadi Shodhana, let's just briefly discuss the meaning of this term. Nadis in previous sessions also have clarified this thing. Nadis are the subtle energy channels. Okay. So Shodhana, this term means to cleanse or to purify. Okay. So Nadi Shodhana together, this means that we are cleaning or purifying the energy channels. Okay. Now, why is this a pre-practice and not a practice of pranayam? Let me also clarify this thing. So suppose I leave from here and I'm headed to some place, right? So as I leave, as I go, I encounter a lot of traffic on the road, right? And because of that traffic, I am either getting stuck somewhere or I am unable to, in worst case scenario, unable to totally reach my destination only, right? So if on the other hand I would have used my phone, my technology, and checked on Google Maps, I could have easily seen that the road is getting blocked, right? Or maybe it was closed altogether, that is why there was so much traffic, right? And I could anticipate, or I could before leaving only see this thing, that there is no way in which I could possibly reach my destination, right? So in that same way, when you do pranayam, in pranayam, you are essentially what you're doing, you are breathing in a certain manner, which is leading to the activation of the prana in a certain way. Now, if the energy channels through which this prana has to move, they are blocked, then what is the point of doing pranayam, right? Or how will I gain the benefits if the energy or the prana is not able to move only? The channel through which it has to move, it gets blocked or it is already blocked, right? So hence this practice was given as a pre-practice, the practice of purification of the energy channels, right? So Nadishodhana is a very, very deep and essential practice when we are reaching the pranayam practices. And again, the more you develop yourself in the pre-practice, the better you get at the pranayam practice, right? Because essentially the combination of all of these qualities of breath, they are going to eventually help you in the pranayam practices as well, right? So we will discuss what Nadi Shodhana actually is in a future class, right? When we cover that topic. But today we are doing a pre-practice of Nadi Shodhana. So Nadi Shodhana, even though it seems very simple, it is not that simple. Okay. So certain prerequisites are again required for you to even go for this practice. And today we are going for a pre-practice of Nadi Shodhana. Generally, when you do this pre-practice, you have to form, like you have to use your hands because you are blocking one of the nostrils, right? So today the concept of mudras that I will explain, this will help you in the upcoming classes also, because in Nadi Shodhana and some pranayams you adopt these mudras. Okay. So first mudra that is very important for us is the sorry, wait, pranayam mudra. Let's go with the name pranayam mudra. Okay. So in pranayam mudra, what we do, we hold the first two fingers and place them on the root of the thumb, right? And the three fingers, my thumb, my ring finger, and my little finger, these are free, okay, for switching between the nostrils. Some people, they don't find this comfortable holding the hand. So what they can do is they can place the first two fingers on the forehead like this, and then again, essentially the same three fingers are free, my thumb, my ring finger, and my little finger, right? So any which way, the movement that I want to make, that is going to be same only, right? Just I have changed the mudra, right? So the second one is called, famously known as Vishnu mudra. Okay. So Vishnu mudra, I will just spell it Vishnu, Vishnu mudra, Mudra. So pranayam mudra or Vishnu mudra, whichever one you find more comfortable, you can go ahead and choose that. Now, this mudra is, these two mudras are formed with your right hand when you go for this practice. Okay, so In a lot of places, you will see this thing that people, when they get tired from one hand, they switch and they make the same mudra from the other, right? This is not correct. Why is this not correct? Next question comes up, right? This is not correct because of a very important concept in the concept of mudras, which is the 5 fingers, they represent 5 elements. Okay. My thumb is representing the fire element. My index finger is representing the air element. My middle finger is representing the space element. My ring finger is representing the earth element, and little finger is representing the water element. Okay, so again I will go fire, air, uh, space, earth, water. Okay, 5 elements. Now when I form this mudra, this is the position that I'm taking. If you simultaneously experiment with your own right hand, when you do this with your right hand and you bring your hand close to the nose, you will see that the thumb will close the right nostril, and you can use either just the ring finger, just the ring finger, or the combination of your ring and little finger to close the left nostril, right? So when you form this mudra with your right hand, this is how the switching takes place. So now I told you thumb is the fire element. Okay. Your right nostril or your right side represents the masculine energy, which is also associated with the sun type energy, right? So sun being warm, sun representing activeness, so your sympathetic nervous system of the body, right? So when the right side or right nostril is active, you take action, you do get the things done, right? Left nostril is associated with the feminine kind of energy. It is associated with the very cool kind of energy, right? And um, the earth and the water element, they are cool in their nature. Okay. So when I form this mudra with the right hand, I'm closing the uh, warm nostril with the fire element, and I'm closing the cold side, right, with the cold elements only, so earth and water. But if I now form this mudra with your left hand, when you form it with your left hand, you reverse. Right now, thumb is reaching the left nostril and the other two are reaching the right nostril. So you're going like against the quality. So initial level, you will not get to know what is happening, right? But eventually, you don't want to train yourself where the mudra is not apt for you, right? Especially if you're planning to go for a long-term practice, right? Because these little things will make a lot of a qualitative difference on your practice, right? So always form the required mudra with the right hand only. Okay. Now, what is today's practice? Today's practice is very simple. We are going to block one nostril. So first we will block the right nostril and we will inhale and exhale through the right side, left side only. So initially I will just, for 1 or 2 breaths, I will just go with the natural breath. Okay. And then I will start gaining control over the breathing, right? And then after 2, 3 breaths, what I will start doing, I will control the breath, take a very controlled inhalation and control the exhalation, take a very controlled, like have a very controlled exhalation, and just make sure that you are taking minimum equal amount of time to inhale and exhale once you begin to control, right? Again, today's practice, you have to inhale and exhale through the same nostril. Then after a few rounds, we will switch. So we will close the left nostril, open the right nostril up, and then we will again for 2, 3 breaths, natural flow in and out, and then again begin to gain control. Right? So this is today's practice. This practice has immense benefits because both the nostrils need to be open, both the nostrils need to be flowing before we do the practice of Nadi Shodhana. So sometimes it is very natural during the day, there is a shift in the nostrils, dominance of the nostrils, right? So this practice, what it helps you to do, it helps you to make sure that the nostrils are flowing freely, both the nostrils are flowing freely. This has a very calming effect also, because the more you concentrate, the more you connect with the breath going in and coming out, and then you begin to control it, then again it has a very, very calming and soothing effect on your mind, on your body, on your breathing, right? So whenever you feel as if your nostril is somewhere not having a good flow, you can go ahead and fall back on this practice in order to just open up, or just check the flow, or even gain more balance in the flow of both the nostrils, and then you can start with the other practices. Okay. This practice should be avoided if you have cold or fever, right? In that case, you should first drain out the nostrils. So through the practice of jalneti, right, the nostril cleansing practice, where you pour the water from one nostril and it moves out of the other. So this kind of practice should be incorporated if your nostrils are completely blocked off, right, due to cold and cough or fever. In those cases only you have to avoid this practice. Otherwise, you can go ahead and do this practice, and it will help you to gain more stability so that you can move to the next practice. So I will take a few classes to introduce the entire practice of Nadi Shodhana, right? So this is, you can say, a pre-practice, or we can also call it stage one, right? Where we are doing the preparation. This is stage one for us. So, any doubts related to the practice of what the technique is?
No, thank you.
Awesome. So, let's just practice it only to see what kind of impact it is having on us. So, let's just sit comfortably, keep the back and neck straight. And once you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Start observing your breath. Watch the natural flow of the breath as it goes in and as it comes out. Now gently shift the attention to the posture. See if you need to adjust the body, make any changes. Align yourself. Now gently come back to your breathing and begin to take a few deep breaths. Try to prolong your breath. We are going to practice abdominal breathing. So exhale fully. If you feel the need, place your hand on your abdomen. And as you begin to inhale, feel the abdomen rise and expand. As you exhale, contract the abdomen. Try to bring the navel as close to the spine as possible. Try to deepen your breath each consecutive round. After your next exhalation, you can suspend the practice, come to the natural flow of the breath, and just connect with the changes that you feel. Keeping the back and neck straight, prepare yourself for today's practice. So with your right hand, form the preferable mudra. Now close the right nostril and begin to inhale and exhale through the left nostril. Going with the natural flow of your breath for the first 2 or 3 rounds, and then begin to gain more control. Slowly begin to gain more control. Full and deep breath. Now slowly, after your next exhalation, switch the nostril, close the left nostril, open the right nostril, and begin to inhale and exhale at the natural pace through your right nostril. Slowly begin to gain more control over your breathing, taking full breaths in and full breaths out. Give each inhalation and each exhalation input. And after your next exhalation, suspend your practice. Relax your hand. Keep the back and neck straight. Just simply observe which nostril was more active currently for you. Did you feel the other nostril, which was not that active, get slightly better or open up a little as you have gone through this practice? Just simple observations. Keeping your back and neck straight, let us prepare to close today's session. Sit comfortably. Spine should be straight. We will chant Om one time, followed by the Shanti mantra. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Om. Sarve bhavan sukhinah. Sarve santu niরাময়াঃ. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Ma kaschit dukhabhag. The deep breath in for Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Feel the vibrations. Now join your palms together. Begin to rub your palms together. Keep the palms on the eyes. One more time. Rub the palms together. Keep them on the eyes. And when you feel ready, very slowly, while blinking and looking at the palm, begin to open up your eyes. Om Shanti. Namaste. Right. So were you able to see that one nostril was more dominant, or were they flowing equally?
Yes, my right nostril is totally blocked. I felt it weeks ago, and I tried Yalaneti, but it didn't work well till now. But it's better. The problem is I didn't feel it. I don't feel it in daily lifetime. But when I do pranayama, I feel that the right side is blocked. But it doesn't block me in the daily time of breathing, in the natural time of breathing, I don't feel it. But now, when I do pranayama, I feel it much.
Okay, so tomorrow remind me, I will tell you one more practice and you should start sitting like that. So that will help you to balance out both your nostrils. It will help you to open the right side. You are saying you are feeling blockage. So it will help you because Jalneti, again, sometimes because we don't do proper exhalation, it ends up congesting us more, right? So this practice, tomorrow, just remind me once, I will introduce you to that practice and
Yes.
maybe you can sit for a while in it and see if it is having a difference or impact on.
Yes, I will do. Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye. See you.